Quibi was a fantastic idea. They raised $1.75 billion before launching a single show.
Quibi is a streaming service specifically for mobiles. It's going to be a subscription service offering high production value films presented in bite-sized 10-minute chunks to be watched on the go. But most interestingly, each film will be full screen no matter which way up you hold your phone and no matter when you switch between orientations. And instead of getting a compromised cropped view when watching in portrait mode, you get different shots specifically chosen by the director that work in that orientation.
They promised to reinvent how we watch TV. Short, premium episodes made for your phone.
Hey, Mama, just making sure you're getting your exercise.
Of course I am. We have Quibi included in our T-Mobile plan.
How does that help you exercise?
I walk into the kitchen and watch Chrissy Teigen.
Okay.
Later, I rush upstairs to watch Idris Elba.
Mama, it's only exercise if you get your heart rate up.
Ooh, that Idris Elba gets my heart rate way up.
But just 6 months after launch, it was over. How do you burn through nearly $2 billion faster than any startup in Hollywood history? This is the story of Quibi, the streaming platform that tried to change everything and failed spectacularly. The year was 2018. Streaming was exploding. Netflix had just hit 139 million subscribers. Disney was preparing to launch Disney Plus, and mobile video consumption had doubled since 2015. Enter Jeffrey Katzenberg, the man behind Shrek, The Lion King, and Kung Fu Panda. He teamed up with Meg Whitman, former CEO of eBay and HP, one of Silicon Valley's most respected executives. Together, they launched a vision. Quote, Hollywood-quality shows, but made for your phone. Episodes under 10 minutes long. They called it Quibi, short for Quick Bites. And investors went wild. By August 2018, they had raised $1 billion from notable investors such as Disney, NBC Universal, Sony, Alibaba, and even Warner Media. By launch, the number had grown to $1.75 billion in total funding. No other streaming startup in history had raised that much, that fast. Katzenberg's pitch was irresistible. Quote, people are busy. They're commuting, waiting in lines, and grabbing lunch. Quibi gives them Hollywood in their pocket. It was designed for vertical viewing, meaning you could flip your phone and the video would instantly adjust. Each episode was short, bingeable, and made for a generation addicted to scrolling. Even the name Quibi, Quick Bites, captured that promise. And they had star power. Shows produced by Steven Spielberg, Jennifer Lopez, Idris Elba, Liam Hemsworth, and Chrissy Teigen. Quibi promised 175 original shows and 8,500 episodes in its first year alone. To lure users, they offered a 90-day free trial, hoping millions would stay and pay afterward. The launch day, April 6, 2020. Everything was set. The marketing blitz cost tens of millions. Billboards in Times Square, YouTube ads, celebrity endorsements. Quibi was everywhere. But just as the company was gearing up for launch, the world shut down. COVID-19 had hit. The very audience Quibi was built for, commuters, travelers, people on the go, suddenly stayed home. The platform that promised to entertain you in transit launched at a time when nobody was going anywhere. Katzenberg later told the New York Times, I attribute everything that has gone wrong to coronavirus. But as the months went by, it became clear, COVID wasn't the only problem. Quibi's early numbers looked promising. On the surface, it got 2.9 million downloads in the first 2 weeks, according to Sensor Tower. But only 1.3 million were active users. By June 2020, only 8% of free trial users converted to paid subscriptions. That's around 72,000 paying users, a fraction of what they needed. The cracks were showing fast. People didn't hate the content. They just didn't see why they should open Quibi at all. It wasn't social, it wasn't shareable, and it wasn't available on the TV screen. You couldn't even screenshot or share a moment from a show, which meant no memes, no buzz, no virality. In an age where TikTok and YouTube ruled mobile screens, Quibi was polished, but disconnected. Internally, executives began to worry. Billions had been spent, yet daily active users were stagnating. Meg Whitman was reportedly clashing with Katzenberg over leadership style, a Silicon Valley CEO paired with a Hollywood mogul. Insiders described it as a culture war between tech and entertainment. Meanwhile, the investors, Disney, NBC Universal, Viacom, and Warner Media, were quietly losing confidence. 6 months after launch, the numbers were devastating. Downloads plateaued, engagement tanked, and ad revenue barely existed. Quibi had burned through hundreds of millions with almost nothing to show for it. By October 2020, just half a year after launch, Quibi announced it was shutting down. A $1.75 billion experiment. Gone. But the real question wasn't how much they lost, it was why they failed so fast. Because when you break it down, Quibi wasn't just unlucky, it was a masterclass in how not to build a media empire. Behind Quibi's billion-dollar dream was a dangerous illusion that money, fame, and power could replace understanding your audience. And that illusion started to crack almost immediately after launch. Let's break down the 5 fractures that destroyed Quibi, each feeding into the next like dominoes. Quibi was built for people on the move, but it launched in April 2020 when the entire world was stuck at home. Netflix added 26 million new subscribers that same quarter. YouTube and TikTok usage skyrocketed. But Quibi? It became an app designed for a world that no longer existed. Quibi's technology was impressive, but over-engineered. You couldn't cast to your TV, you couldn't share clips, and episodes disappeared behind a paywall no one wanted. They spent $63 million on a custom video format called Turnstile, letting users flip between vertical and horizontal view. But instead of innovation, it became a gimmick. Meanwhile, TikTok was free, social, and infinitely scrollable. Hollywood's biggest stars joined Quibi, but the shows were weirdly forgettable. Critics called them expensive YouTube videos with no replay value, and viewers agreed. While Netflix's Tiger King became a pandemic phenomenon, Quibi's top show, Most Dangerous Game, barely cracked 50,000 active viewers in its first month. Quibi spent $100,000 per minute of content, yet couldn't hold people's attention for more than 3. Inside Quibi, things weren't smooth either. Jeffrey Katzenberg came from a Hollywood world of hierarchy and control. Meg Whitman came from Silicon Valley's culture of data and agility. But Quibi had neither. They never tested their shows before release. They didn't collect real user feedback. Decisions were made in boardrooms, not in the comment sections. A former employee told the Wall Street Journal, "It felt like we were building something for Jeffrey's ego, not the audience." At $4.99 a month with ads and $7.99 without, Quibi charged the same as Disney+. But unlike Disney, it had zero brand loyalty and no nostalgia to sell. Even advertisers were hesitant. The platform failed to meet its promised 20 million users, leaving millions in unsold ad inventory. By October 2020, Quibi had lost over $1.4 billion of investor capital. The shutdown was swift, the staff was laid off, and the content library was sold to Roku for just $100 million, barely 6% of what was spent. In the end, Quibi's failure wasn't about bad timing or bad luck. It was about arrogance, believing that money could buy attention. But the attention economy doesn't care who you are. If people don't connect with your product, you're gone.